Edmund Lowry Jr. The first psycho killer in Red Dead Redemption 2 is the kind of guy you'd pray was just made up, but he's not. Rockstar actually based him on a real-life serial killer named Stephen D. Richards. Back in the 1800s, this dude murdered multiple people across the Midwest and was eventually hanged. Now take that and crank the horror up a notch. That's who you get in the game. Edmund Lowry Jr. In Red Dead 2, this guy doesn't just kill people, he displays them, cuts them up, strings up the torsos like decorations, and leaves creepy messages painted in blood. Stuff like, "Look on my works," and "Do you see?" And on top of that, he shoves pieces of a treasure map into the mouths of the severed heads. The whole thing kicks off in the stranger mission American dreams. First clue is near Valentine, a body hanging under the railway bridge. Then another near Wallace Station, and a third out in Scarlet Meadows near Braithwaite Manor. You find all three heads, grab the map pieces, and it leads you to Lucky's cabin. You go down into the basement, and it's exactly what you'd expect from a full-on psycho. There's blood everywhere, limbs stacked like firewood, and even a camera like he was documenting his kills. You investigate a knife, and suddenly Lowry jumps you. No warning, just full freak mode. You knock him out, tie him up, and bring him to the sheriff in Valentine. And even then, he tries to kill again. What makes Lowry so disturbing isn't just the gore, it's that he's doing it for attention. He wants you to see it. He wants to be remembered. That's what puts him at the top of the psycho scale, the killer prostitute.
I'm in a real bind. This fella, he's in a bad way. You gotta help me.
The second psycho killer in Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't someone you find in the middle of a forest or strung up like a warning. In fact, she doesn't even look like a threat at first. She plays the victim, she draws you in, but what you're dealing with here is straight up manipulation. A killer hiding behind fake tears. She's known in the community as the killer prostitute, and yeah, she doesn't have a mission name or a big cinematic intro like Edmund Lowry Jr., but she's mentioned in the rough data as another disturbed figure who fits right into this list. Her story plays out like a setup. You think you're helping someone down on their luck, but what you're really doing is walking into her trap. There's not a ton of detail on how many people she's taken out or what her exact pattern is, but what makes her so dangerous is how she kills. She doesn't use brute force. She uses sympathy. She gets people to drop their guard and then strikes. No emotion, no remorse, just cold, calculated deception. And that's why she's on this list, because a psycho killer isn't just about gore and bodies, it's about the mind, and using human connection as a weapon, that's next level disturbing. She may not be as flashy or theatrical as Lowry, but she's arguably just as twisted. The kind of killer who doesn't need a knife, just a good lie. Vampire of St. Denis.
I'll suck you dry.
The third psycho killer in a Red Dead Redemption 2 is something straight out of a horror movie. But the scariest part, you can actually find him in the game, hiding in the shadows of St. Denis. No cutscene, no quest marker, just a creepy trail that you piece together on your own. This one, he calls himself a vampire. Yeah, seriously. If you explore the back alleys of St. Denis, you'll start seeing disturbing messages written in blood. Stuff like, "I drink from the maiden and feast on the flesh of the innocent." They're scrawled on walls, tucked away in corners like someone's leaving you a trail. And if you follow that trail long enough, eventually you'll find him. He is a real figure, hunched over a body, in the middle of feeding, blood on his face, dead eyes, and no shame about what he's doing. You can either walk away or put him down right there. He doesn't have a name. No stranger quest pops up, but that's what makes him even more unsettling. Rockstar tucked this psycho deep inside the city, waiting for curious players to stumble across him. And why does he qualify as a psycho killer? Easy. He's not just murdering people, he's ritualizing it. He believes he's something else, something inhuman. That delusion, that obsession, and the fact that he's acting it out with real victims, that's pure psycho energy. Blackwater Athletics Team. The fourth psycho killer in Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't have a face, a name, or a cutscene, but what they left behind, that's enough to land them on this list. It's one of the creepiest discoveries in the game, a mass grave just outside Blackwater, with a chilling pattern that suggests this wasn't just a killing, it was a message. If you explore the area near the Tall Trees region, you'll find a grave that belongs to the entire Blackwater Athletics team. 10 members, all dumped together, but it's what's next to the grave that makes this more than just a tragic accident. On the nearby hillside, someone arranged a leg and 2 arms in the shape of the letter B, and none of the bodies in the grave are missing those limbs. So who do they belong to? Now here's where it gets really suspicious. That exact same B pattern is also found inside Edmund Lowry Jr.'s basement. Same body part arrangement, same level of planning. That's led some players to believe this might have been one of Lowry's early kills before he got bold enough to leave bodies out in the open. Others think it's a copycat, someone who admired his work and took it even further by targeting an entire group. Either way, this wasn't random. This was premeditated, ritualistic, and and deliberately symbolic. All the traits you'd expect from someone with a psycho mindset. No robbery, no motive, no explanation. Just a pile of bodies and a twisted calling card. Stephen D. Richards. The fifth psycho killer tied to Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't someone you'll find in the game, but his shadow is all over it. His name was Stephen D. Richards, and he was very real. Hanged in 1879 after confessing to multiple murders, Richards was one of the earliest documented serial killers in American history. And if Edmund Lowry Jr. creeped you out in the game, this is the guy he was based on. Richards was known for having a clean, gentleman-like appearance. Sharp dresser, polite speaker, totally normal looking, but behind that, a violent, twisted mind. He killed men, women, even children, no remorse, just moved from town to town, hiding behind charm and blending in. And Rockstar clearly took notes. In Red Dead 2, Edmund Lowry Jr. mirrors that same exact profile. Elegant on the outside, sadistic underneath. The way he leaves behind artwork using human remains, that hunger for recognition, all of that lines up with how Richards craved attention even after he was caught. He wanted people to know his name. Same with Lowry. So while Richards isn't a character you'll ever see in New Hanover or St. Denis, his fingerprints are all over one of the game's most disturbing psychos. Rockstar didn't just invent Edmund Lowry Jr., they revived someone who actually lived and made him even more terrifying. Bray and Tammy Aberdeen.
Feels like someone's stabbing me in the head.
Come on.
The sixth psycho killer entry in Red Dead Redemption 2 comes with a warm meal, a fake smile, and a shallow grave. If you've ever visited the Aberdeen pig farm out in Scarlet Meadows, then you know exactly who we're talking about. Bray and Tammy Aberdeen. It starts off like a random encounter. You meet this overly friendly brother and sister living out in the middle of nowhere. They invite you in, offer you dinner, maybe a drink, and if you take it, you black out. When you wake up, you're stripped, robbed, and dumped in a pit full of rotting bodies. Yeah, full psycho. And it goes deeper than just a robbery. The game strongly hints that Bray and Tammy killed their own mother, buried multiple victims behind the house, and might have even served human meat to Arthur or John during that meal. You'll find bones under trap doors, locked rooms, and if you stick around too long, they come at you with knives and guns. But here's the creepiest part. They're based on real people. Rockstar modeled them after the Bloody Benders, a real-life family of serial killers from 1870s Kansas. The Benders ran a small inn and general store and are believed to have murdered at least a dozen travelers, burying the bodies on their own property. Just like the Aberdeens, the Bender siblings, John Jr. and Kate, were rumored to have an incestuous relationship. And just like in the game, no one ever found out what happened to them. They vanished without a trace. Skinner brothers.
Cut your hair, boy.
The seventh psycho killer entry in Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't about one guy, it's a whole group, the Skinner brothers. And yeah, technically they're a gang, but the stuff they do, that goes way beyond gang violence. Some fans argue that individual members of this crew absolutely qualify as full-blown psycho killers. You run into them during missions like Uncle's Bad Day and the Toolbox in the epilogue, and if you've played those, you already know. These guys don't just shoot to kill, they torture, they mutilate, they take pleasure in the pain. In one scene, they lodge a knife straight into a man's eye socket. In another, they tie Uncle to a spit and try to roast him alive. They live out in the Tall Trees region, mostly hidden away from civilization like a backwoods horror story. No honor, no codes, just brutality. Now, as a group, they might just seem like another group of outlaws, but if you pay attention to their behavior, especially when they go after defenseless people, it's clear. Some of these guys aren't just criminals, they're predators. And that's why some players believe there are psycho killers hiding among them, individuals who use the gang as cover for their own twisted impulses. Herbert Moon.
Are they Jews, mister? They sound like Jews.
The eighth psycho killer in this video might be the most debated one because technically he's never caught doing anything. But if you've played Red Dead Redemption 1, you know his vibe is just off. We're talking about Herbert Moon, the racist shopkeeper from Armadillo. Now, Herbert isn't confirmed to have killed anyone. He's not part of any mission like American Dreams, and he doesn't show up in Red Dead 2 at all. But fans have had theories about him mainly because in RDR 1, the town of Armadillo gets hit by a plague. And Moon is one of the few people who seems totally unaffected. Not just physically, but emotionally. He's just ranting outside his store like usual, while people are dying left and right. Some players think he caused the plague. Others joke that he's some kind of undead vessel of chaos. The theory goes that maybe he poisoned the town. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was just pure hatred. Either way, his cold indifference and unhinged personality spark the meme. Herbert Moon is the real villain of RDR.